Players have two sets of parameters: the player technical profile, which can be assigned to multiple players, and the player properties, which are unique to each player. The player technical profile is where administrators store a common set of parameters that can be applied to groups of players. QL Server on-premise administrators have access to every profile setting, while QL Cloud account administrators have access to select features. To access the profile, move your cursor over to the main menu icon, then Player Management, and finally select Technical Profile. If you don't see this option, your user account isn't authorized to access these settings. Regardless of the QL version you're using, you always start with a default profile. You can use this profile as is, you can edit its values, or you can create new profiles. To create a new profile, click the gray button next to the profile name and select Create Profile. Give this new profile a name. Click OK to create the new profile. Next, you customize the profile. Starting on the first page, you can set the display on-off schedule. Unless you change the default setting, your displays will be on 24/7. We recommend you configure the schedule to save energy and to extend their usable life. To set a weekly on-off schedule, enter the times you wish the display to turn on and off. Repeat for each day of the week. To leave the displays off during the weekend, leave those values empty. If required, display schedules can be overwritten in the player properties. This will override the profile settings for the selected player only. Next, we select the default media. This content will be shown whenever the screens are programmed to be on and there's no playlist scheduled. To replace the currently selected content, click Upload and then select File. Pick a file and click Upload. If uploading an image, the duration will be set to 10 seconds by default. Video duration is detected automatically. Moving along, we find the QL Player software update settings. This is where you decide if the players should automatically update their software to the latest version. You must also pick the time and day when the update will take place. This could be as soon as possible or on a specific day and time of your choice. For example, only on Saturdays at 2 a.m. Note that it's important to schedule these events at slightly different times so there is no conflict, because you don't want the player to download content and attempt to install the update at the same time. We recommend setting a minimum of 30 minutes between each task. On the next page, we find the date and time sync options. When enabled, players will synchronize their internal clocks with the server. This option is enabled by default, and we don't recommend changing it unless specifically asked by Navori support. The reboot function is a daily event and is non-optional. Enter the time when the player will restart, and the device's memory and system resources will be reset. The Purge Content feature is used to delete any content that is no longer part of your current or future programs. This could be content that has been deleted in your scheduled playlists or expired content. This option is disabled by default. To enable it, you must check the box and set the interval at which the player will verify the status of the locally stored content. The Analytics feature is where you set the interval at which the player will upload its logs. The default setting is every hour, and we don't recommend changing this unless specifically asked by Navori support. The player storage threshold values determine when an alert is sent based on the device's available storage. You can set values for the operating system and for content storage. Once the free space dips below this value, the player's status indicator changes to yellow, and an email is sent to authorized users. The scheduling grid days downloaded value shows how many days of programming each player will store locally. The default is 20 days, after which the player will start showing the default media. If you don't plan on sending updates within a 20-day cycle, you can increase the number of days, or you can enable the auto update feature. When enabled, QL Server will send a daily update to the players at the time you specified. Next, enter a tolerance value in case the player is busy performing another scheduled task. For example, setting the auto update at 1 a.m. and a tolerance of 30 minutes means the update will take place at any time between 1 and 1:30 a.m. QL Server Cloud works a bit differently because many profile settings are managed by Navori technical staff. However, QL Cloud account administrators still have access to the following settings: display control, default media, PC reboot, purge unused content, and player storage threshold. Please note these settings are not available to QL Cloud users. Only the main account administrator can access them. To change the profile assigned to any player, double-click the player's name to open the Player Properties window. Click the right arrow to go to the second page. Click the pull-down list to select the new profile, and click Save to confirm your selection. This concludes our review of the player technical profile. Be sure to visit www.navori.com for more information.